Us now live and exclusive in the newsroom to former Delhi Chief Minister, a woman who's run the capital for 15 years and understands the problems the city and its people face. Sheila Dixit is joining me on the newsroom. Ma'am, welcome. Now, I saw your comments from this morning where you hit out really hard at Arvind Kejriwal for trying to implement this odd-even formula in what you believe is a tearing hurry. Now, you're in opposition. Kejriwal is the Chief Minister. What would you have done if you were in a similar position as the Chief Minister is today, with pollution soaring through the roof? If you leave your opposition hat aside just for a moment, what would you do, Mrs. Dixit?
Well, first of all, we would bring out a plan taking all the stakeholders with us. The police is the most critical part of this stakeholder, legacy. And we have to take them. Will they be able to implement it or not? Because the Delhi government or Kejriwalji and his people are not going to be able to implement it. It's the police's. Has police got enough force to be able to implement this every day? And remember, please, that Delhi has got lakhs and lakhs and lakhs of cars and trucks and three-wheelers and two-wheelers and so on and so forth, all kinds of things plying on the roads. Now, every road, the wider ones have about 6 lanes on one side and 6 lanes on the other side, from 8 to 6 lanes on both sides. Now, how are you going to implement? How are you going to watch every car?
That's a genuine
and
problem.
Even if you catch
Mr. Dixit,
a car,
you said that you would try to bring the police on board. But the big difference between the government that you are running and Arvind Kejriwal now is that you had a Congress government in the state and a Congress government at the center. Kejriwal doesn't have that luxury. He has an AAP government in Delhi and a very hostile BJP government in the center. Do you think that by itself mars the chances of success? Or do you think if he'd approached it rightly, he could have still brought the Delhi police on board, Mrs. Dixit?
No. We were there for 15 years, and the first 3 or 4 years were with the BJP government at the center. Please remember, Delhi is the capital of this country. Please remember, the central government and all the diplomatic corps live here. Please remember that Delhi is not a full statehood. Please remember that our powers are divided. Now, having known all this, getting to know all this, you just have to work together. The central government has to work with us, and we as a local government have to work with the central government. It's nothing new. And if it is something new to Mr. Kejriwal, then he should have, realized it, he should have acted upon it, taken the police on board. Unfortunately, Mr. Kejriwal is at loggerheads with the LG, he's at loggerheads with Mr. Bassi. How do you expect the administration to run then?
Okay, but some would argue, looking at it from the Kejriwal perspective, that we have a terribly toxic situation in the capital. It's a legacy of what happened over the last several years, but there is a real problem. The court said Delhi is like a gas chamber. Now, if he keeps making these detailed plans, sits and discusses with officials, winter will be over. He's saying we need to kickstart things into action, even if it's not fully successful. A half-baked, half-implemented odd-even plan which awakens consciousness is still better than no plan at all. Would you agree, Mrs. Dixit?
May I remind you, just about 98, 97, when there was pollution in Delhi, we brought in CNG. Remember that?
The courts did.
We closed down a lot of things. We brought in a lot of green. No. We brought in CNG. What do you mean the courts did? We brought the CNG, and we also greened up Delhi. So Delhi had become a less polluted city, and suddenly again it's become polluted again. Because for the past year and a half, 2 years, there has been no governance which has looked into this matter and anticipated that such a thing could happen. I'm not saying that you have a magic wand or anything like that, but the people must get the impression, we as citizens must get the impression that something is being done about it, something is being thought out, and that it will be implemented, and what will be implemented will really succeed. To me, it does not look as it will succeed at all.
Do you think it will be a partial success, partial failure, or do you think it will be a complete disaster?
Well, I as a citizen and as per somebody who knows a bit of Delhi pretty well, I think is going to be a disaster. It's going to lead to a different kind of chaos. How are people going to, how is the police going to check everything? How are we going to see that today? I need the car today. I have one car. Mine is an odd number or an even number. I need it today. I need to go to the hospital today. What will I do? Can I wait till tomorrow? I can't. So unless everything had been worked out properly and advertised, Mr. Kejriwal and his government advertise a lot.
Okay.
They should have advertised everything, the do's and the don'ts. That has not been done.
Okay, finally, I was just chatting with Prakash Javadekar, the Environment Minister, and he said that this is a problem that's a legacy of what the Congress has left us with. He's accusing us in the media of waking up late to this problem, but more importantly, he's accusing you of having allowed this problem to perpetuate. While, of course, in the first few years of your regime, there was a big move towards CNG. After that, the situation deteriorated. He's saying the Modi government is now having to clean up the sins of the past. These are crimes of the Congress government which they should have dealt with when they were in power and they didn't.
I would with all humility, but all truth tell Mr. Javadekar, but the situation when we were there, till 2013, it was not like this ever. It was not like this, and we did take care. As I told you, CNG was brought by us, greening of Delhi was done by us. Whatever we could do, we did it. And we also stopped burning of, greeneries. It completely stopped. So that also adds to pollution, leaves, dead leaves. We also did another thing, and that was we did stop cars which used to bring out smoke. We stopped them and did not allow them to function. Today you do see cars and you do see scooters with smoke coming out of them. Now, is that the Delhi government, Mr. Javadekar?
Do you think that they haven't touched two-wheelers because it's a vote bank? Do you think two-wheelers have been excluded? They're one of the big sources of pollution. Would two-wheelers also have been brought in?
I don't know. If you're always going to think of a vote bank, I'm sorry, especially when your governments are already there, please think of doing some work rather than blaming somebody else or thinking of a vote bank.
I'm going to leave it over there. Sheila Dixit for joining us on the newsroom tonight. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you.
26th of November, YSR Congress Party MP from Rajampet, PV Mithun Reddy, along with his supporters, allegedly slapped the Tirupati airport manager Rajshekhar when airport authorities refused.
The winters are upon us. Time to take out your sweater jackets and, in my case, cap. In fact, my colleague Rohit has already started knitting. Now, Sony smartphones, I really like them, because they have their own design philosophy.